In this video, we're going to dive into the importance of mental habits, what you're returning to the most, especially when you're trying to manifest anything. It doesn't matter what your circumstance is. This video is going to kind of go into detail of how you're supposed to kind of do things in the middle, and more so what you should be doing within yourself habitually, and to really take awareness of what you're aware of throughout your conscious day. It's not about just doing something once and then contradicting it all day. So we're going to cover all these topics. I've had a lot of clients come to me with a perspective of, I've been manifesting for X amount of days or X amount of weeks or whatever it may be, but it's still not here. And they fail to see that in itself is showing you where your beliefs lie, but more importantly, what perspective you're claiming that you're in, what consciousness, right? So we're gonna go into all of this, and as you already know, before we get into it, I'm Michael from embody.com, and all I ask from you guys is, if you get anything of value from this video, to hit that like button, so the same way it helped you, it can reach other people and help them as well. So let's just go right into it. Pretty much, I don't want to waste any time on this because it's a very important topic. And it's something a lot of people kind of suffer with. And, even me in my life, I've been victims, especially recently, and even in the past too, even years ago, and like I tell my clients, hey, even I'm not perfect, right? Like sometimes I react to things. Sometimes, I see something that I don't like and I catch myself dwelling on a past event or returning to old habits, right? And I share this thing because I have nothing to hide, right? Like I tell, clients, like, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to think that I'm perfect, and if you're not like me, that you're screwing something up. Even Neville Goddard himself, as you already know, any of you that dive into his studies and his lectures, you'll realize he's been human so many times, and you're not supposed to be perfect. And if you're perfect, then we wouldn't be here, right? So I always share, when I notice myself doing things, I'll tell you guys too. And, even for myself, I notice that sometimes, depending on the topic or the goal or whatever it may be, I catch myself, and at this point I just laugh. It's like I see myself going back to this old pattern, this old story, dwelling on what is as opposed to what I prefer. And it's so simple when you realize that you can just catch your awareness doing that, and just a little gentle guidance of you grab it by the hand and you take your awareness to where you prefer instead. It goes a long way in a matter of a couple days, and it's just a habit of doing it. And the problem is, we often don't do this. This applies for anything. It doesn't matter if it's money. It doesn't matter if it's health. It doesn't matter if it's, love related in any form, getting an SP or anything really. Just insert whatever into here. And you have to ask yourself, and I want all of you guys to do a mental check with me and ask yourself, okay, what do you guys want? Think about it. What's the number one thing you guys want right now watching this? And now it's in the back of your head, right? You're aware of it. So ask yourself now, how many times throughout your day, from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, are you looking at that thing from the perspective of, I'm trying to get it? Or you go to the moment of, trauma or the thing that bothers you, the circumstance, and you start looking at your person or your goal in general from that perspective of trying to crawl out, as opposed to enjoying what's already finished, what's created, right? And, when you realize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm often doing this a lot, then you can't be shocked at the lack of results, right? Especially if you've been, quote unquote, manifesting for a while. And it's all about changing perspectives. It's about understanding that what you do within yourself and what you experience within yourself is actually the present moment. It's fact now, right? And the moment you have that desire, right? So let's say the desire pops up in your head, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. That's literally you can look at it so many different ways. You can look at it like your higher self is telling you, hey, like, this is a reality that you could experience, and that's the only reason you kind of have this desire, and all you have to do is just experience it as fact now, right? You have to let go of the 3D. Give your awareness, take your awareness off the circumstances in your 3D, right? And give your awareness to what you would rather be, and just assume it, acclaim it in that moment. And that's the mistake so many people make. Sorry about that, my dog. And he's protecting the door as he's supposed to. And as you already know, it's so important, it's so vital that we realize that the 3D is something that we, in other words, chose to experience, whether you knew that you were consciously manifesting it, but you couldn't control your mental diet because you just weren't disciplined or whatever it may be, or you were unconscious about it, right? You were accepting and consenting to these things, not realizing it was going to lead to this, event. So when you start catching your awareness and you start realizing, all I have to do is understand that when I desire something, when I crave anything, when I want whatever desire pops up in my head, in that moment, I have to start practicing reminding myself in that moment that I only crave this thing because there's a version of me that literally in a different, whether you want to call it the quantum field or probable reality, whatever you want, it's in those other realities that it's there for you to, it's already being experienced. It's there for you to pretty much accept and for you to grab and bring to you, bring heaven down to earth, right? And you got to realize that the more you practice catching your awareness on your desire and instantly going from I'm trying to get it and I'm doing XYZ to hopefully get it to instead remembering I already have it. And you do this through any technique you prefer. And if you're, lazy like me, you practice just making that decision that you already have it. You just accept fulfillment in whatever form is natural for you, right? And for me, it's a decision. And often I tell all my clients, and I tell you guys too, if you practice whatever techniques you prefer and you go from one end to the other, and you go from being aware of the desire and then you do the technique in the middle and then boom, you go to fulfillment, you accept it, you have that conviction, and then obviously as a byproduct, you might even feel that some emotion that goes with that. You'll realize that you can skip techniques eventually and realize, hey, I know what it feels like to know this as fact. I know what it feels like emotionally as well. And you can just skip to that and pretty much get rid of the middle. So I want you to just practice in whatever way, whenever your desire hits you, to start returning to the awareness that you already have it, because in the back of your head now, you realize that your desire is only there because it's already created. Creation is finished, right? And it's like so important for you to understand this, because we often look at our 3D circumstances and we allow it to beat us up, right? And so I work with so many different people, and like I told a client yesterday, and I even remind myself as well, I tell them, you're not a doormat for anybody. Just because you're kind, just because you're nice, just because you are manifesting that person, if you're manifesting an SP, it does not give them the right, even if you know the law, to treat you like crap. And you don't have to take anything you don't want to take. And if you feel any certain way that you're being disrespected, or you're especially in an abusive situation, or something that only benefits them and not you, you have every single right to distance yourself and really just do what you got to do and focus on your end, because I'm telling you, they will come around, and there is nothing stopping that. Because if that's what you want them to come around and to be a different person, then they have to be that, right? And that's what I want you guys to understand. It's not about being a doormat for people. It's not about just because you're manifesting a goal or you're manifesting a promotion that your boss can treat you like crap. Of course, it's good to understand that your beliefs are what are causing this reflection. It's okay, right? But you're still allowed to defend yourself, right? I'm not going to sit there and let somebody disrespect me, as an example, even if I'm manifesting them. Or if let's say I work an office job and I want a raise, and the boss tells me, oh, you're too stupid, I would never give you that raise, so on and so on. I would react in a way, not from the point of like, oh no, my manifestation is failing. I would say what I have to say for me to establish, hey, you can't talk to me like that, and I deserve better, and so on, and whatever else, right? And I would do what I have to do, because just because you're manifesting doesn't mean you're a doormat, right? And remember, like, you are in full control. And that's the beautiful thing about life. And that's the beautiful thing about law. It's like we're humans. We're God having a human experience. And remember that God became man so that man could become human, right? So God became man so that man could become God, or realize what we are, right? And it's like, that's so beautiful when I remember that. That's like God became us so that we could learn who we actually are, so we could experience, being gods on earth. And it's such a beautiful thing to think about. Like, wait a minute. So we're here to experience our desires. Like, we're not put on earth here to simply crave these things, and we're never going to get them. And we have to live our lives dying without the experiences that we would prefer. That makes no sense. So I'm going to read to you guys something from, one of Neville's books. And it's a really good passage that's going to help you put things into perspective, especially if there's 3D circumstances bothering you. So just let me get my phone out. And it says here, if ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. Unless man discovers that his consciousness is the cause of every expression of his life, remember, what are you being conscious of consistently? He will continue seeking the cause of his confusion in the world of effects, and so shall die in his fruitless search. And here's the important part. I am the vine, and ye are the branches. what this means is consciousness is the vine, and that which you are conscious of being is as branches that you feed and keep alive. Just as a branch has no life except it to be rooted in the vine, likewise, things have no life except you be conscious of them. That's telling you, you can't, like, nothing has life unless you're conscious of it. And that's why I bring up, what perspective are you returning to? Are you looking at your 3D from that negative perspective of, I'm trying to get out of it, I hope that I manifest this change in that job offer or my finances or my person or whatever it may be, right? And it says, just as a branch withers and dies if the sap of the vine ceases to flow towards it, so do things and qualities pass away if you take your attention from them, because your attention is the sap of life which sustains the expression of your life. Right then and there, like, that's so beautiful. It's telling you, like, your attention is the sap of life. And this is why I made this video, right? I wanted to share this with you guys because so many of my clients come to me and the 3D is so heavy. And trust me, I'm not perfect. And if I was perfect, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be gone by now. And, you know, this is a journey we're all learning and we're all growing. And I look at the scary stuff. Like, I understand at the beginning, especially if it's a breakup or something really scary in your life happens, I understand it hurts and it's scary and you just so badly don't want to lose that thing, or, you know, you just wish things could be the way that you want them to be, and you know that if it was, everything would be perfect. I get it. And there's going to be days or weeks, however long it takes you, to kind of snap out of that and realize, okay, it's time to buckle down. It's time to revalue myself. Because as Neville teaches people, and as he's gone on record to say, the moment you revalue yourself, your world around you will change. So that's why I brought up the topic of mental habits. Who are you valuing yourself as? And if it's something that doesn't align with, I have it, I am this person, and those beliefs aren't in alignment, because remember, the state carries the beliefs. And of course, if you want, you can individually focus on beliefs too. There's nothing wrong with that. As an example, you know, in one of my previous videos, you can use the three-pronged method from Seth. And it's simply right, and I tell to my clients, it's like, okay, if you want to go that direction, then what belief do you currently have? Like yesterday, I had a person I was working with, and they told me that they had a belief that they're not worth, like they can't get commitment from people, right? And I told them, okay, like if there's multiple ways to go about it, and one of the ways I showed them, if they choose to want to go that route, is look at that belief and really sit down and write down your beliefs, your negative ones, and put your good ones too. Don't just focus on the bad, right? And when you find the negatives, and then write down the opposite of those negatives, or do it in your head if you want, if it's only like one or two. And for example, I'm not like, or let's say you have a belief. Let's say I'm working on a belief of I'm easy to walk away from, right? So that's the negative belief that one would want to change, that I'm easy to get over, I'm easy to move on from, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what if you weren't easy to move on from? And boom, when you think about that, and you're gonna notice, like, I just experienced I noticed I shifted a state because I put myself in the awareness of that being true. Just thinking about it, you saw me do it live, and it made me smile. And it's like, okay, let's think of another thing. It's like, let's say I only had $5 in my bank account, and I think to myself, okay, but what if I was constantly making money? What if I was making $40,000 a month? And then I think about that, and I instantly go from, okay, if I'm only making this much, you know, I only have this much in my bank account, but now I was making $40,000 a month, what would that be like? And in that moment, I'm thinking of that. I'm like, okay, and I contemplate it, and then it's like, boom, it hits me. It's like, oh my God. And I just accept it, and I realize what it would feel like if that was true. And that's, for me, how I play with things, right? I just jump to like the opposite. And same thing, when I catch a desire, I'm aware, hey, I don't have it. So what's the opposite? And in other words, in the back of my head is creation is finished, right? And I couldn't have this desire unless it was already a possibility where versions of me already have it. So I know for a fact, God would not put me here. Like, I would not be here. I would not choose to come here and have this desire and then be stuck never being able to experience it. That's insane. So I know for a fact that like all these things sit in the back of my head, and I know right away that, wait a minute, the fact that I want this thing, it means it's already mine. And the more I start accepting and returning to that awareness, the faster it becomes who I am, which means the results come quicker. And when I think about that, it makes no sense to do anything but catch my awareness. So instead of looking at, you know, if you're trying to manifest money, stop thinking of, you know, your bank account and how, you know, you wish I had more money. When you catch yourself doing that, right then and there, you're sinning, right? You're going back to your old crappy mental habits that keep, in other words, the reflection going, right? And instead, focus on the opposite, just like I showed you guys. Hey, what if you had that reality instead? Contemplate that. What would it look like? What would you be doing? How would you spend your money? Same thing with SP people, right? That's like a majority of my clients is all SP stuff. So it's like if you're manifesting SP or health, it doesn't matter. But what if right now in this moment you were healthy, or if you had your SP, right? What if the problem in your 3D you knew for a fact was temporary, and all you had to do was practice playfully going to like taking your awareness to the end result you prefer, understanding that creation is finished and it's simply waiting for you to catch up, right? It's waiting for you to pretty much just embody it, and that's all you have to do. And every time you think about it, just return to it playfully, right? You don't have to do it because you think you have to. Do it when you crave it, when the mood hits you. But I don't want you thinking that you have to, do this drastic change and meditate for hours and so on and so on. It doesn't have to be, that hectic. I want you to understand that, number one, you're not a doormat. And really, value yourself. Really value yourself, right? Stop looking at yourself with someone with these negative, perspectives. If it comes to money, view yourself as someone that's wealthy and that always makes money, right? If you've always made money, how would that feel if you were kind of looking at your present reality from that future perspective of, oh my God, I've been making money for 6 months now straight. I remember when, right? That technique, when I used to be broke. I remember when I used to do that, and so on and so on. Same thing if you're manifesting love or an X-Pac, whatever. Okay, 3D, they can do whatever they want, right? Because you understand it's your reflection. They are only ever reflecting you. It's your beliefs being pushed out. It's your consciousness. And you understand that what you're more conscious of dominantly becomes who you are, and you manifest who you are, not what you want. So your job is to start catching your habits, your mental habits, right? Are you going back after doing techniques here and there? You sprinkle a bit of techniques, but then are you going back to, oh, I hope I can get them. Oh, I'm going to check social media. Oh, I'm going to see what they're doing. And oh, why are they not doing this with me? And so on, right? There's going to be a point where it's going to seem very hard to not do that because it's all fresh to you. But I promise you guys, it's like you're going to get fed up. It's going to get to a point you get fed up and you're going to start realizing your true value. And if you're not there yet, trust me, it's okay. The day's coming. Just find peace and understanding that the more you start practicing removing these mental habits and trading them for something more beneficial, the more you're going to have success. And that's what I want from you guys. I want success from you guys. I tell everybody that watches me, it's like, I want all you guys to thrive, even if I never work with you. Because if I can teach you something, that means you can teach someone else in your life and help them. And you can also bless others. So it's really a point of understanding that it's all about revaluing yourself. When you catch your awareness on your desire, who are you viewing yourself as in that moment? And that meaning, are you going to look at that desire as, oh, I hope I get it. Oh, I must do this now. And I hope I get it. And if I don't, then I'm going to be upset. No, you got to understand it's about claiming it now, having it now. It's about understanding it's who you are. You are not just this reality. You are existing in everything, right? And everything, everywhere, all at once. And all the kingdom of heaven is inside within us all. It's inside of you, and it's within me, and I get to select which state, which of those mansions I want to kind of go into, what door I want to walk through. And if I want to walk through the door of having X amount of whatever money, or a parent or someone that's close to me, be healthy or have a better job. If someone I care about lost their job, I can choose to walk through the door of, instantly I can feel grateful that they got their job back, or even better, a higher paying job, because I understand the fact I want that for them means it's already a possibility. And so I'm trusting in the possibility, understanding that if I don't contradict this and I plant that seed and I let it grow, it's going to arrive no matter what. And I don't care about the time. I know that it will come faster the less I poke around and look to see if the seed has germinated. Oh, there's a taproot. Okay. How long until it sprouts from the soil? I don't care about that. I always tell all my clients as well, it's like, be willing to go up to 30 days, but don't expect anything. I don't want you thinking, oh, because Michael said he got some stuff within days or 10 days or XYZ, that if it's not that amount, then, it's like I'm doing something wrong. Trust me, guys, there's things that have taken me, more than 10 days easily, right? But I've never experienced when I truly buckled down and started practicing from day one, from when I began buckling down to catching my awareness and observing it with indifference of anything negative. Meaning I take my awareness of, of my reactions. I don't look at the 3D and I'm not like, oh, this sucks. I hope this changes. I take my awareness off it, and instead I entertain what I prefer, what I know is coming. Same thing when I catch myself, sorry about that, when I catch myself focusing on, whatever it may be that's bothering me, at that moment, I recognize this doesn't serve me because I'm in the awareness of looking at this problem as if it's my present reality. And yes, it's okay to understand it's my present reality, but I also understand continuing to look at it from this perspective and to feel it real and to give it awareness, right? That's the sap of life. That's giving it water. It's saying, hey, keep this coming, keep this coming. And instead, my job is to then grab my mind and remind myself of all the rules to the game. And this is a game, and it's about time you guys started playing it. So I want you to really understand this is about you guys. It's about what do you want to experience, right? What do you want out of your life? And whatever that is, whatever thought pops into your head when this happens, when you ask yourself this question, I want you to step into that thought, experience and accept it as if it was a fact, because it is. It's just not a fact in your 3D world, but remember, your 3D is the past. It's dead. It has no, it has no power over you, right? Same way, you don't pick up a newspaper from 10 years ago and get mad at the news that doesn't affect you anymore. So why would you do the same thing, right? And, I tell, my clients all the time, look at it like an echo. It's like, imagine going into a cave and you pretty much say hello, and you don't hear the hello back for another like 7 seconds. But on the 7th second it comes. You guys, every time you pretty much cast out, like you pretty much claim this is who I am, you're putting your order in, right? That's you saying hello. And the problem is you guys don't make it to 7 seconds. You guys make it to second 3, 4, 5, 6, and right when you're there, it's like you just crap all over it, right? And then you decide, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Where is it? Blah, blah, blah. And you go back to these old habits. Your job is to understand that echo is inevitable. It's impossible that it doesn't come back as long as you are living by the law and the rules to the game, right? And this is a game of life. And like I said, you guys have to start playing it. Understand, if I'm willing to go up to 30 days without any expectation of anything right away, and I'm just more so focused on experiencing what I prefer in my mind, and I understand that there's this thing that I am that's if it helps you, that's within you, and that thing knows greater, like it knows more than you, right? The Father and I are one, but the Father is greater than I, right? It's like you're not separate, but there's things that you're not going to be able to see, right? You're not going to be able to see that how the bridge is going to happen, right? That's not up to you to figure out. Let the Father figure that out, right? Let the higher self figure that out. Let your soul, or whatever you want to call it, right? I tell people we are the soul. We're a manifestation of it. This body's the vessel. But if it helps you to look at it like you have this spirit inside of you, and that spirit, that soul is a thing that's gonna, figure everything out and has the access to all God's knowledge, and they can do the hard part, and all you gotta do is enjoy what you want, then look at it like that. It doesn't matter. It's whatever gets you to the end state that matters, right? And your job is to start removing those crappy habits. What you do habitually is going to become what you experience. So if you're habitually looking at your 3D circumstances and you're being upset and bothered, and you're not valuing yourself the way you should be, you're letting people walk over you, you're extending yourself too much, and you're letting people get comfy with what you're offering because they know there's no repercussion for what they do, right? Then guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep experiencing that because you're going to keep looking at things from a state of lack, and the state of lack has beliefs of lack. So therefore your experience can only be reflected that will reflect those beliefs and those states that you dwell in the most. So from this point forward, when you finish this video, and this is why I really like only making one video a week, or at least sometimes two within 7 days, at the very least every 5 days or so. It's because I like to give you guys time, like really apply what's in this video. Just until the next time I make my video, till the next video, I want you to catch your awareness. Are you looking at your problem from the perspective of you're trying to get out of it? Or when you think of the problem, do you go straight to fulfillment instead, trusting what you can't see? That's how you make the unseen seen. And really see, how are you looking at your 3D reality? Are you looking at it with a smile now because you understand, wait a minute, I don't have to react to the old me. This crap that manifested around me is the old me. me. And it only continues to stay this way because I continue to go back to the old me, right? And trust me, I get my moments where I get fed up too. And it's like, enough is enough. Like, things have to change. And you guys need to focus on that. And that's where your focus has to be. You need to make the decision too. Like, are you comfortable with this crappy 3D? And if the answer is no, then ask yourself, why are you not disciplining your mind? And it doesn't mean that with effort and you have to go to bed tired and all this crap. It's just a gentle decision. It's like dancing, right? You dance with your partner. You guide your partner, so guide your mind, right? And that's what I want from you guys. Decide enough is enough. You're sick of the crap. Trust me. I have moments in my life, in the last 12 months, even, years ago, I remember I got so fed up. I was like, I could do this. Like, why am I wasting months of my life just like being okay with the 3D? This is so simple. And when I realized that, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, this is so dumb. And I started realizing, like, even back then, it's so simple when you really take a step back and you evaluate, wait a minute, I've been doing this mistake so often. I've been looking at my 3D from the perspective of this is my life now. And I've been, arguing on the inside and just like Neville's student who was arguing with that person that was above them in work. And Neville suspected she was, having arguments. And lo and behold, she stopped. Meaning she took her awareness off the problem, right? Took her awareness of how this person treated her and instead started focusing on what she preferred. And guess what happened? She came back with a success story and got everything she wanted. The same thing applies to your desires. When you catch your awareness on the problem, how are you viewing it? Are you looking at it with a smile saying, I know I created that, it's okay. And I know that it's going to change because I'm changing, because I'm choosing to return to the state of the wish fulfilled, right? And I'm accepting that I have it within, even though I don't see it without. But that's how you make the unseen seen. And if you trust this and you know that your higher self is going to figure this out and do it for you, guess what? Game over, right? It's only a matter of time then. And just enjoy the journey and practice catching those bad habits and removing them. In other words, going to the opposite. Take your awareness off everything bad. I'm telling you, when you start putting your awareness on what you prefer and then experiencing that and trusting in that and enjoying it, and you spend less time returning to the negative, the next day is going to be a little bit easier. And then the day after that, even more easier. The day after that, more easier. It compounds itself, okay? So that being said, there's still a lot more I would love to say on this topic, but I don't want to make this another huge video. We're already, 27 minutes in, right? So I'll definitely talk more about catching mental habits and things like this, but this is what I want you guys to practice until I drop my next video. I want you guys to really just start understanding that you have to value yourself above all else, right? Because your reality, your 3D physical reality is just out picturing who you are. So if you want love, then start accepting you already have it. If you want money, start accepting you have it. If you want health, start returning as much as you can in a fun, different way when you're kind of thinking about it, that you're healthy. Just imagine the things you would do if you were healthy and really enjoy those moments, right? And it's okay if you're in pain. Just do what you have to do, okay? And remember that it's a game. This seems so serious, but I'm telling you guys, when you respect yourself, the world respects you. When you love yourself, the world loves you. And when you treat yourself the way that you want to be treated, the world has no choice but to give it to you. So ask yourself, how long have I been treating myself in ways that I don't want to experience? And you'll see a definite connection if you've been manifesting a while. And that's why I tell people, that's why my slogan is free your mind and in turn free yourself. Because that's the truth. When you free your mind and you finally let go of all this crap, you free yourself, right? You have the keys of your own prison cell, and for this whole time you haven't been using it. Now's the time to turn that key and become who you want to be. So that being said, thank you very much, guys. I love you all very much. And if you made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button, and I can't wait for the next video. So take care, guys.